Welcome students, today we are going to start 9th chapter of history, and that is the making of the national movement 1870s to 1947. Students, this chapter is very important and it gives the summary of national movement in India. So first let's talk about previous chapters. In previous chapters what you all have learned, that is how the British conquest of territories and takeover of kingdoms, and introduction of new laws and administrative institutions, changes in the lives of peasants and tribals, educational changes in the 19th century, debates regarding the condition of women, challenges to the caste system, social and religious reform, the revolt of 1857 and its aftermath, the decline of crafts and growth of industries, and how the issues that we had been reading in the last chapters to create and raise a kind of mass movement among the people. So as a result, what happened was already there was a kind of lot of discontent among the Indians, and they were trying to speak around the British philosophy. Students, as you all know, India was the people of India. All the people, irrespective of class, color, caste, creed, language or gender, and the country, its resources and systems were meant for all of them. With this answer came the awareness that the British were exercising control over the resources of India. ब्रिटिशर्स हम पर ओवर कंट्रोल करना चाहते थे, ओवर रूल करना चाहते थे, एंड द लाइव्स ऑफ इट्स पीपल, एंड until this control was ended, India could not be for Indians. This consequence began to be clearly stated by the political associations formed after 1850. After those that came into being in the 1870s and 1880s, most of these were led by English educated professionals, as you all learnt in previous chapters, such as lawyers. The more important ones were the Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, the Indian Association, the Madras Mahajan Sabha, the Bombay Presidency Association, and of course the Indian National Congress. Now let me explain you. Pune Sarvajanik Sabha means, it means beta all of the people, है ना? So of or for all the people. Though many of these associations functioned in specific parts of the country, their goals were stated as the goals of all the people of India, not those of any one region, community or class. है ना? Students, now the three major things that were happened here, they were, first one is Arms Act. Let me show you. Arms Act, here it is, है ना? Then our Vernacular Press Act, and third one was Ilbert Bill, है ना? So firstly let me explain you Arms Act. Arms Act was passed in 1878, disallowing Indians from possessing arms. It means the Arms Act said that no Indians that would be allowed to possess any kind of arms, and that was brought in 1878. Now let's talk about Vernacular Press Act. Vernacular Press Act was also enacted in an effort to silence those who were critical of the government. The act allowed the government to confiscate the assets of newspaper, including their printing presses, if the newspapers published anything that was found objectionable. In other words, we can say this Vernacular Press Act was any objectionable content against British government will not be allowed, and if found, so it would be confiscated and the press could be confiscated. And the third important move was Ilbert Bill. And in Ilbert Bill said that there should be equal rights even in the Indian judges as well as British judges. And we are talking about Ilbert Bill, as well as all the Indian judges were able to bring out into court any British subject that comes in. So the idea was to bring Indians at bar with the Britishers, but the Britishers or whites opposed it. Finally, this act, the Ilbert Act, will repeat. So what happened was all these three led to very high discontent among the Indians, and there was a kind of mass movement that was started. It is started as an Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress was established when 72 delegates from all over the country met at Bombay in December 1885. The early leadership was done by Dadabhai Naoroji and his companion Firoz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Tayyabji, W.C. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Ramesh Chandra Dutt, S. Subramaniam Iyer, among others, was largely from Bombay and Calcutta. Naoroji was a businessman and publicist settled in London. Now, what is publicist, students? Here, someone who publicizing an idea by circulating information, writing reports, speaking at meetings is known as publicist, and for a time member of the British Parliament, guided the younger nationalists also. And here one more famous personality was A.M. Hume, a retired British officer. A.O. Hume also played a part in bringing Indians from the various regions together. During this period, we saw a kind of nationalist move. However, there were two sects, है ना, two sects distribute हो गए. First one was your moderate and second one was your extremist. Now, moderate were those who inspired by the philosophy of Gandhi ji, है ना. They followed a non-violent move. Now, who were extremist? Extremist you can remember as Lal Bal Pal. Lal, Bal and Pal. Students, it means Lal stands for Lala Lajpat Rai, Bipin Chandra Pal and Bal Gangadhar Tilak, है ना. So easily you can recall their names as they were major extremist leader. Both of these were working together towards creating a mass movement and nationalism during that time. Now, the major things they were focusing were, first of all, they wanted the administration should have Indians representation. So, they said Indianization administration should take. Indianization administration should take place, different servants should be appointed and they should be Indians as well. Most of the people who are in the army, they should be Indians only. Different servants should be appointed and they should be Indian as well. Most of the people who are in high jobs or government jobs, they should be Indian. Now, judiciary should be separate from executive. Arms Act must be repealed, but Vernacular Press Act should be ended, and Ilbert Bill should be brought about. Those who are opposing the Ilbert Bill should not be allowed. Beside this, during that time, lot of poverty that existed that we had saw in previous chapters, and there were huge taxes that was put onto the common men. So, all those were the issues which the Indians were working about again during that period. There was a salt tax also that was passed. Now, salt was something that was a common man necessities, as this is the basic need. Then it becomes very difficult for the common man, and therefore this salt tax later brought into what we say Dandi March called Satyagraha Andolan. We will discuss further in this chapter only about Dandi March, as here it was held in 12 March 1930 to 6 April 1930, and these were the major issues that we talked about. Moderate and extremist were self-realized and constructive. They were fighting for Swaraj. Now, as they argued that people must rely on their own strength, not on the good intentions of the government. ये किसने कहा है? हमारे बाल गंगाधर तिलक ने, है ना. Tilak raised the slogan, freedom is my birthright and I shall have it. स्वराज्य मेरा जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार है और मैं इसे लेकर ही रहूँगा। एंड इन केसरी, here you can see the portrait of Bal Gangadhar Tilak. In Kesari, the Marathi newspaper which was edited by Tilak, this Kesari later on became one of the strongest critics of British rule, है ना, सबसे बड़ा आलोचक बना ब्रिटिश रूल के लिए। So all these efforts brought around a kind of movement, and we can say a kind of nationalism feeling among the people. Again, important thing during that time was condition of Bengal. Now, Bengal was a big area during that time. What happened? There was a interesting thing, was partition of Bengal. In 1905, Viceroy Curzon partitioned Bengal. है ना, in 1905, students, you all can note down this date, है ना. Bengal was a big area during that time. What happened here was, earlier Bengal was included Bihar region of Orissa, then you have East Bengal and the Bangladesh area and Assam. What happened in 1905? Lord Curzon separated basically the regions of Bengal, and the sole idea besides this was the Bengali community, or you can say big personalities like Rabindranath Tagore, है ना, as he was the big influencer, है ना, as he had written our national anthem also, you all are knowing Rabindranath Tagore. So the sole idea was the cut their area of influence. So there is a smaller area, so there was a less number of influencer, and if there is a big area, there will be influence more number of people. So partition of Bengal was one of the effort, or we can say moves by Britishers. However, this partition were East Bengal, Assam was separate, was a kind of major opposition that brought by both extremist and by moderate as well. And there were numerous public demonstration and meetings took place during that time. Now Swadeshi movement said that Swadeshi apnao, Videshi bhagao, है ना. It means we have to use Indian products. That means we should adopt the things have been made in India, and we should oppose the foreign product. That is similar to what we said that Make in India scheme. So the sole idea under Swadeshi movement was to utilize the Indian product and boycott any of the foreign clothes. There were numerous public demonstrations held, such as burning of foreign clothes, and here you all can see as thousands joined the demonstration during the Swadeshi movement. The similar movement that took place in South India, and that was Vande Mataram movement, and this took place in the region of Andhra Pradesh. The Swadeshi movement was strongest in the area of Bengal. Now, there were two primary reasons for this in the area of Bengal. There were two primary reasons for this. Firstly, Bengal was a kind of region that was pillar capital of British India, and this region was highly influenced by Lord Clive and Lord Curzon, है ना. So numerous Britishers admitted into this area, and this area was, we can say, the initial or the most prone areas with British influence. So there was a huge movement among the Bengali personalities and the influencer leaders to boycott the British product and British goods into the India. The opening decades of the 20th century were marked by other developments as well. A group of Muslim landlords and Nawabs formed the All India Muslim League at Decca in 1906. League supported the partition of Bengal. Now, this All India Muslim League was in support of partition of Bengal that took place. It asked for a separate electorate for Muslims for the election 1909. Seats in the council was reserved for Muslims. Again, this formed a major loophole for the later partition in India that took place, but initially it supported the partition of Bengal, which was opposed by both the groups, which was moderate and extremist. Again, there was boycott that was taking place. Moderate are opposing these boycotts. However, the moderate dominate the political party during that time, and there was a split in the ideology, that is extremist and moderate. As a result, there was a split in the Congress that took place in 1907. However, the two groups reunited by considering the fact that if we split apart, then we won't be able to achieve success as we should. So, in 1915, both extremist and moderate joined hands again, and that happened in Lucknow Pact. Now, Lucknow Pact was an agreement reached between the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League at a joint session of both the parties held in Lucknow in December 1916. Through the pact, the two parties agreed to allow representation to religious minorities in the provincial legislatures. Now, let me tell you one more thing. Indian National Congress means that was headed by your leader Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Muslim League party was headed by your leader Muhammad Ali Jinnah. In short, or in other words, you can say Lucknow Pact was between Congress and Muslim League, was signed to work together for representative government. Now, here growth of mass movement. It was the time of the First World War, and during the First World War there was numerous expenditure made on defense. So, everything that was required for defense was in huge demand, such as clothes, jute bags, iron products, rail lines. As a result, businessmen were making good profits, and on the other hand, there were numerous taxes that was imposed onto the common men. So, there is a big division in rich and poor for further increase, and this further increase in the divide led to a kind of worst condition into India. However, many of the local workers, inspired by the things what was happening in Russia during that time. During that time, Mahatma Gandhi came back to India. You all are knowing, है ना? This I told you earlier also. In 1915, Mahatma Gandhi came back to India from South Africa, है ना? And he emerged a mass leader. He had numerous contact with the various top leaders from various religious communities and the different class of society, merchants, the workers as well as the upper classes. So, he was able to understand the leads and ideas that people are following during that time. However, his political guru Gopal Krishna Gokhale ji told him to move around the country for 1 year and not to decide to anything else, just look into the situation and analyze it. So, he toured India for 1 year, and then he came across Champaran, Kheda, various parties of various peasant community in Ahmedabad, in the regions of Gujarat, in Bengal, state of indigo workers and the state of cleanliness. So, for all these he worked around, and then there was successful mill worker strike that took place in Ahmedabad, and there was the feeling of Swadeshi that was still working around. But during that time, now we are having Rowlatt Act. Before that, here you all can see this picture, and this figure. In this figure, beta, figure 6, founder of National Congress are assembled here. It was held in Durban, South Africa in 1895. In 1895, along with other Indians, Mahatma Gandhi established the Natal Congress to fight against racial discrimination. Whatever I explained you in class 6th, है ना, racial discrimination, रंग भेद नीति. Now let's see the Rowlatt Satyagraha. In 1919, Gandhiji gave a call for a satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act. Against the Rowlatt Act, है ना. The British had just passed. The act curbed fundamental rights such as the freedom of expression and strengthened police powers. Now, the Rowlatt Act in 1919 said that it will bring a curve around freedom of speech and expression, and this was strengthened by the political power. So what happened was, the common man in India was not having freedom to speech or the freedom to expression. Considering this as a big fact, there was a big demonstration in Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. So what happened in Amritsar, when people were there to demonstrate against the Rowlatt Act that was be passed, they will be surrounded by General Dyer. As a result, the whole garden, which was surrounded by the army of General Dyer, the fire took place in that region. Most of the people fall into the well, putting up the slogans Inqilab Jindabad, Inqilab Jindabad, and those who remained in the ground were brought it down by the firing that took place by General Dyer. Considering the atrocity that took place during that time, here you all can see these people are pointing out the wall compound in which General Dyer opened fire on a gathering of people. Now, Rabindranath Tagore expressed the pain and anger of the country by renouncing his knighthood. Now, what is knighthood? Let me explain. This is an honor granted by the British Crown for exceptional personal achievement or public services. But what Rabindranath Tagore said? Rabindranath Tagore said that he no more want that honor, and they can keep that honor with themselves only. Now, during the Rowlatt Satyagraha, the participants tried to ensure that Hindus and Muslims were united in the fight against British rule. This was also the call of Mahatma Gandhi, who always saw India as a land of all the people who lived in the country, Hindus, Muslims, and those of other religion also. He was keen that Hindus and Muslims support each other in any just cause. Now, so as you had seen during the partition of Bengal, you saw there was a formation of All India Muslim League. There was a corporate for Muslim sects that was started, but in this ground, the Jallianwala Bagh, despite it was a Hindu or Muslim, all of them sacrifices there. So, Hindu and Muslim joined hand again and united for a common cause. Next is Khilafat agitation and the non-cooperation movement. Students, during that time, after the Swadeshi movement, the Khilafat movement said that Khalifa or the Turkish Sultan would have or should rule all the Ottoman Empire or the Turkish Empire during that time. However, Britishers did not wanted this. Gandhiji was in support of this policy. The leaders of Khilafat agitation, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, now wished to initiate a full-fledged non-cooperation movement. Gandhiji supported their call and urged the Congress to campaign against Punjab wrongs. What happened in Jallianwala Massacre? The Khilafat round and demand Swaraj. Now, the non-cooperation movement gained momentum through 1921 to 22. Thousands of students left government-controlled schools and colleges. Many lawyers such as Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das, C. Rajgopalachari and Asaf Ali gave up their practices. British titles were surrendered and legislatures boycotted. People lit publicly bonfires of foreign cloth. The import of foreign cloth fell drastically between 1920 and 22. Now, as during that time, 1921, Muslims were the part of the non-cooperation movement due to two reasons. First one was the Jallianwala Bagh incident, and second was the Khilafat agitation, where Gandhiji supported the Muslim leaders. And as a result, in non-cooperation movement, there were two movements. Don't get confused with these two movements. They were important, very important, and they are the non-cooperation movement and the civil disobedience movement. In many cases, people resisted British rule non-violently. In others, different classes and groups, interpreting Gandhiji's call in their own manner, protested in ways that were not in accordance with his ideas. In Kheda, Gujarat, Patidar peasants organized non-violent campings against the high land revenue demand of the British. In coastal Andhra and interior Tamil Nadu, liquor shops were picked. Picked means here beta people protesting outside a building or shop to prevent others from entering. Okay. In the Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh, tribals and poor peasants staged a number of forest satyagraha. This forest satyagraha means beta forest area reserved for the people, for the Britishers, and the wood from the forest meant for the development of railways or was meant only for Britishers. So no tribals or forest people were not allowed in those areas. Under this forest satyagraha, people sent their cattle in forest for grazing without paying any kind of taxes. This was your forest satyagraha. And they believed that Gandhiji would get their taxes reduced and have the forest regulations abolished. In many forest villages, peasants proclaimed Swaraj and believed that Gandhi Raj was about to be established. In Sindh, nowadays in Pakistan, this area, Muslim traders and peasants were very enthusiastic about the Khilafat call. In Bengal too, the Khilafat non-cooperation alliance gave enormous communal unity and strength to the national movement. And what happened in Punjab? In Punjab, the Akeli agitation of the Sikh sought to remove corrupt Mahants. Now, let me tell you what does this Mahant mean, beta. Mahant means religious functionaries of Sikh Gurdwaras. Okay. Now, supported by the Britishers from their Gurudwaras, this movement got closely identified with the non-cooperation movement. In Assam, tea garden labels shouting Gandhi Maharaj ki jai demanded a big increase in their wages. They left the British-owned plantation amidst declaration that they were following Gandhiji's wish. Interestingly, in the Assamese Vaishnava song of the period, the reference to Krishna was substituted by Gandhi Raja. है ना, कृष्ण के substitute किसे बना लिया था? गांधी राजा को. Now, as we all know that Gandhi ji as a kind of Masiha, as someone who could help them overcome their misery and poverty, Gandhi ji wished to build class unity, not class conflict. Yet peasants could imagine that he would help them in their fight against zamindars, and agricultural laborers believed he would provide them land. At times, ordinary people credited Gandhiji with their own achievements. For an instance, at the end of a powerful movement, peasants of Pratapgarh in the United Provinces, nowadays Uttar Pradesh, managed to stop illegal eviction. Now, what does this illegal eviction means, beta? Forcible and unlawful throwing out of tenants from the land they rent. But they felt it was Gandhiji who had won this demand for them. At other times, using Gandhiji's names, tribal and peasants undertook action that did not conform to Gandhian ideals. So, before explaining you what was the happenings of 1922 to 1929, I want to tell you one more thing, that is non-cooperation movement. They said not to cooperate with British policy, and in 1930 they had civil disobedience movement, and in this they basically said that they will refuse to obey the laws. So, there was a kind of difference between two ideology, but both of those were non-violent in nature. This non-cooperation movement was a kind of passive movement and Muslim support, and civil disobedience movement is a kind of active movement with lack of Muslim support. Again, this non-cooperation movement brought to end with Chauri Chaura movement. Now, what happened in Chauri Chaura 1922? A set of people, the police station got fire, and there was a kind of violent act that took place. As you all know, Mahatma Gandhi was against violent movements. He appropriately called off the non-cooperation movement when in February 1922 a crowd of peasants set fire to a police station in Chauri Chaura Kand. 22 policemen were killed on that day. The peasants were provoked because the police had fired on their peaceful demonstration. This was the reason. And there was a kind of violent act that took place. Gandhiji was sad about it, very sad about it, and finally he withdrew the non-cooperation movement. On the other hand, we had civil disobedience movement, and that was withdrew because of Gandhi-Irwin Pact that was held in 1931 to 32. Now, later on I will explain you about Gandhi-Irwin Pact, but before that I want to tell one more thing. The two important developments of the mid 1920s were the formation of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, it means RSS, a Hindu organization, and the Communist Party of India. These parties have held very different ideas about the kind of country India should be. Now, as you all know about Bhagat Singh, as Bhagat Singh was active, very active in that period, and given slogan Inqilab Jindabad. As the decade closed with the Congress resolving to fight for Purna Swaraj, it means complete independence. In 1922, under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, consequently, Independence Day was observed on 26 January. Let me show you, here it is written 26 January 1930 all over the country, and it was held in Lahore on the shore of Ravi river, you all know, as I explained you in class 6th and 7th. Now, let's go back to Bhagat Singh, as he was very active leader of that time. It takes a loud voice to make the deaf hear. Inqilab Jindabad. Revolutionary nationalists such as Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Sukhdev and others wanted to fight against the colonial rule and the rich exploiting classes through a revolution of workers and peasants. For this purpose, they founded the Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, it means HSRA. In 1928, at Firoz Shah Kotla in Delhi, on 17 December 1928, Bhagat Singh, Azad and Rajguru assassinated Saunders, a police officer who was involved in the lathi charge that had caused the death of Lala Lajpat Rai. Now, I will explain you about Lala Lajpat Rai also. Let me read this. On 8th April 1929, Bhagat Singh and B.K. Dutt threw a bomb in the Central Legislative Assembly. The aim, as the leaflet explained, was not to kill but to make the deaf hear. इतना साउंड करना चाहते थे कि बहरा भी सुन सके, है ना, एंड टू रिमाइंड द फॉरेन गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इट्स कॉलेज एक्सप्लॉयटेशन. Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru were executed on March 23, 1931. Bhagat Singh's age at that time was only 23. Now, as Bhagat Singh founded Socialist Republican Association HSRA in 1928 at Firoz Shah Kotla in Delhi, and this association responsible for Saunders. Saunders was a policeman who did lathi charge that caused the death of Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai was the guru and guru of these freedom fighters. So finally they planned assassination of Saunders, है ना, उसके लिए प्लान किया इन लोगों ने, and they throw the bomb in the Central Legislative Assembly. Though he was ardent follower of Gandhiji, he followed his vision, but he was an extremist by nature. Students, here you all can see in figure 10, demonstrators opposes the Simon Commission. Students, Simon Commission came to India in 1927. People did not have any Indian representative. As a result, people gave slogan Simon go back. Here, as so many demonstrators were standing here, you all can see they are holding a hoarding, and what was written on that? Simon go back. In 1927, the British government in England decided to send a commission headed by Lord Simon to decide India's political future. The commission had no Indian representative that time. The decision created an outrage in India. All political groups decide to boycott this commission. When the commission arrived, it was met with demonstrations with banners saying Simon go back. Now let's see the march to Dandi. Purna Swaraj would never come on its own. It had to be fought for. In 1930, Gandhiji declared that we would lead a march to break the salt law. Now, why he has decided this? Because during that period there was a salt tax that was passed. Now, salt was something that was a common man necessity, and if someone is putting a tax on the basic commodity that is the common man necessity, then it become very difficult for the common man, and therefore this salt tax later brought into what we say Dandi March, called Satyagraha Andolan. Now, according to this law, the state had a monopoly on the manufacture and sale of salt. Mahatma Gandhi, along with other nationalists, reasoned that it was sinful to tax salt since it is such an essential item of our food. The Salt March related the general desire of freedom to specific grievance shared by everybody, and thus did not divide the rich and the poor. Now, Gandhiji and his followers marched for over 240 miles from Sabarmati to the coastal town of Dandi, where they broke the government law by gathering natural salt found on the seashore and boiling sea water to produce salt. Now, peasants, tribals and women participated in large numbers. A business federation published a pamphlet on the salt issue. The government tried to crush the movement through brutal action against peaceful satyagrahis. Thousands were sent to jail. As here in this picture you all can see, along with Gandhiji, one woman also was standing here. Let me tell you who is she. She is Sarojini Naidu with Mahatma Gandhi in 1931. Now, Sarojini Naidu, as Gandhiji was not in favor कि कोई भी women उनके साथ इस सत्याग्रह में आए, but वो एक ऐसी women थी जिन्होंने गांधी जी को कन्विंस किया and joined Dandi March, and she was first woman who was the president of INC. The combined struggles of the India people bore fruit when the Government of India Act of 1935 prescribed provincial autonomy, and the government announced elections to the provincial legislatures in 1937. Now, let me tell you one more thing. Each and every province of India would have their own autonomy, and in 1937 government allowed the elections to be to the provincial legislatures, and finally Congress is formed in 7 out of 11 provinces. Okay, in September 1939, after 2 years of Congress rule, what happened? Here in the provinces, the Second World War broke out. Critical of Hitler, Congress leaders were ready to support the British war effort, but in return they wanted that India be granted independence after the war. the British refused to concede the demand. The Congress ministers re-signed in protest. Quit India movement, August 1942, was the ground for starting Quit India movement, where we gave the resolution, do or die, karo ya maro. During that time, resolution, you had a mobilization that was non-violence, but numerous leaders were jailed. Many of they arrested and many of them were killed into firing. Muslim League was demanding separate state in Northwest and East India. Subhash Chandra Bose and the INA. INA means beta here Indian National Army. A radical nationalist with socialist leaning, Bose did not share Gandhiji's deal of ahimsa, though he respected him as the father of the nation. In January 1941, he secretly left the Calcutta home, went to Singapore via Germany and raised the Azad Hind Fauj or the Indian National Army, it means INA, to free India from British control. In 1944, the INA tried to invade India through Imphal and Kohima, but the campaign failed. The INA members were imprisoned and tried. People across the country from all walks of life participated in the movement against the INA trials towards independence and partition. Meanwhile, in 1940, the Muslim League had moved a resolution demanding independent states for Muslims in the northwestern and eastern areas of the country. The resolution did not mention partition or Pakistan. From the late 1930s, the League began viewing the Muslims as a separate nation from the Hindus. In developing this nation, it may have been influenced by the history of tension between some Hindu and Muslim groups in the 1920s and 1930s. More importantly, the provincial elections of 1937 seem to have convinced the League that Muslims were a minority and they would always have to play second fiddle in any democratic structure. उनको ये अंदर से डर था. It feared that Muslims may even go unrepresented. The Congress rejection of the League's desire to form a joint Congress League government in the United Provinces in 1937 also annoyed the League. है ना. तो 1937 elections Muslims had declared provincial election and there was a talk between Muslims and the League which was failed. The Congress failure to mobilize the Muslim masses in the 1930s allowed the League to widen its social support. It sought to enlarge its support in the early 1940s when most Congress leaders were in jail. At the end of the war in 1945, the British opened negotiations between the Congress, the League and themselves for the independence of India. Now, elections to the provinces were again held in 1946. The Congress did well in the general constituencies, but the League's success in the seats reserved for Muslims was spectacular. It persisted with its demand for Pakistan. In March 1946, the British cabinet sent a 3-member mission to Delhi to examine this demand and to suggest a suitable political framework for a free India. This mission suggested that India should remain united and constitute itself as a loose confederation with some autonomy for Muslim majority areas, but it could not get the Congress and the Muslim League to agree to specific details of the proposal. Partition now became more or less inevitable. As here in this figure you all can see refugees from torn Punjab gather in New Delhi in search of shelter and food. After the failure of the cabinet mission, the Muslim League decided on mass agitation for winning its Pakistan demand. It announced 16 August 1946 as Direct Action Day. On this day, riots broke out in Calcutta. lasting several days and resulting in the death of thousands of people. By March 1947, violence spread to different parts of northern India. As here you all can see, Maulana Azad with other members at the Congress Working Committee, Sevagram 1942. As Azad was born in Makkah to a Bengali father and an Arab mother. Well versed in many languages, Azad was a scholar of Islam and an exponent of the nation of Wahdat-e-Deen, the essential oneness of all religions. An active participant in Gandhian movements and a staunch advocate of Hindu-Muslim unity. He was opposed to Jinnah's two-nation theory. It means partition of Pakistan. Now, here in this figure you all can see Chakravarti Rajgopalachari speaking to Gandhiji before the Gandhi Jinnah talks 1944. A Vietnam nationalist and leader of the Salt Satyagraha in the south, C. Rajgopalachari, popularly known as Rajaji, served as members of the interim government of 1946 and as Free India's first Indian Governor General. Now, let's see about Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, as he played a very important role in the negotiations for independence during 1945 to 47. Patel hailed from an impoverished peasant propertier family of Nadiad, Gujarat, a foremost organizer of the freedom movement from 1918 onwards. Patel served as president of the Congress in 1931. How we can forget Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel? And now here you all can see Muhammad Ali Jinnah with Mahatma Gandhi. And this was the portrait of Bombay, September 1944, and ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity until 1920. Jinnah played an important role in the making of the Lucknow Pact. Just now I told you about Lucknow Pact, Samjhauta. He reorganized the Muslim League after 1934 and became the major spokesperson for the demand for Pakistan. Now, as here you all can see in this figure, Jawaharlal Nehru ji. As Jawaharlal Nehru listens to Mahatma Gandhi before the Bombay session of the Congress, July 1946. Gandhiji, disciple, a Congress socialist and an internationalist, Nehru was a leading architect of the national movement and of free India's economy and polity. Now, let's see Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, the Pashtun leader from the northwest frontier province, with his colleagues at a peace march through Bihar, March 1947. Also known as Badshah Khan, he was the founder of the Khudai Khidmatgar, a powerful non-violent movement among the Pathans of his province. Badshah Khan was strongly opposed to the partition of India. He criticized his Congress colleagues for agreeing to the 1947 division. Many 100,000 people were killed and numerous women had to face untold brutalities. During the partition, millions of people were forced to flee their homes, torn asunder from their homelands. They were reduced to being refugees in alien lands. Partition also meant that India changed many of its cities, and a new country, Pakistan, was born. So, the joy of our country's independence from British rule came mixed with the pain and the violence of partition. So, this is how our explanation of this chapter is done. Now, let's move to question and answers. So, your first question is, why were people dissatisfied with British rule in the 1870s and 1880s? So, your answer is, the people were dissatisfied with British rule because of the following reasons. First one was, British were exercising control over the resources of India. B is, British were exercising control over the lives of its people, and until this control was ended, India could not be for Indians. C is the Arms Act was passed in 1878, disallowing Indians from possessing arms. D is Vernacular Press Act was also enacted in 1879 in an effort to silence those who were critical of the government. E point is in 1883 there was a furor over the attempt by the government to introduce the Ilbert Bill. The bill provided for the trial of British or European persons by Indians and sought equality between British and Indian judges in the country. Now question number 2 is, who did the Indian National Congress wish to speak for? So your answer is, the Congress was composed of the representatives not of any one class or community of India, but of all the different communities of India. Hence, the party wished to speak for the masses in the fight for freedom. Now, question number 3 is, what economic impact did the First World War have on India? So, your answer is, the following are the economic impacts of First World War on India. Negative effects were, there was huge rise in expenditure of defense of government of India, and increased taxes on income of individual and business profits by the government, and we can say there has been sharp increase in the prices due to increase in expenditure, and finally we can say all this created difficulties for common people. Now, agriculture was adversely affected for 2 reasons. First one was, India lost 1 million soldiers who were farmers' children, and secondly we can say supply was concentrated to war fronts, which reduced farmers' reserve. Now, what are the profits? Due to increase in demands of individual goods such as jute bags, clothes, rails, etc., business groups reaped fabulous profits. Now, and expansion of India industries due to decline in imports by other countries in India. Now, let us see question number 4. What did the Muslim League resolution of 1940 ask for? So, your answer is, in 1940 the Muslim League was moved a resolution demanding independent states for Muslims in the northwestern and eastern areas of the country. The resolution did not mention partition or Pakistan. Now, question number 5 is, who were the moderates? How did they propose to struggle against British rule? So, your answer is, the moderate leaders wanted to develop public awareness about the unjust nature of British rule. They published newspapers, wrote articles and showed how British rule was leading to the economic ruin of the country. They criticized British rule in their speeches and sent representatives to different parts of the country to mobilize public support. They felt that the British had respect for the ideals of freedom and justice, and so would escape the just demands of Indians. What was necessary, therefore, was to express these demands and make the government aware of the feelings of Indians. Now, question number 6 is, how was the politics of the radical within the Congress different from that of the moderates? So, your answer is, in the fight for Swaraj, the radicals advocated mass mobilization and boycott of British institutions and goods. Some individuals also began to suggest that revolutionary violence would be necessary to overthrow British rule. Moderates, on the other hand, wanted to follow the rules, the laws and the order posed by the British. They followed the practice of prayers, which the radicals totally opposed. Now, question number 7 is, discuss the various forms that the non-cooperation movement took in different parts of India. How did people understand Gandhiji? Now, your answer is, the places in the country showed different reactions given below. At Kheda in Gujarat, Patidar peasants organized non-violent campaigns against the high land revenue demand of the British. And in coastal Andhra and interior Tamil Nadu, liquor shops were picked. Now, C1 is in the Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh, tribals and poor peasants staged a number of forest satyagrah, sometimes sending their cattle into forest without paying grazing fee. Then we can say we can take example of Sindh nowadays in Pakistan. Muslim traders and peasants were very enthusiastic about the Khilafat call. And in Bengal too, the Khilafat non-cooperation alliance gave enormous communal unity and strength to the national movement. In Punjab, the Akeli agitation of the Sikhs sought to remove corrupt Mahants supported by the British from their Gurudwaras. People thought of Gandhiji as a kind of Masiha, as someone who could help them overcome their misery and poverty. Gandhiji wished to build class unity and not class conflict. Yet peasants could imagine that he would help them in their fight against Jamidar and agricultural labours. Believed he would provide them with the land. At times, ordinary people credited Gandhiji with their own achievement. Now, question number 8 is, why did Gandhiji choose to break the salt law? So, your answer is, the salt march related the general desire of freedom to a specific grievance shared by everybody and thus did not divide the rich and the poor. Hence, in 1930, Gandhiji declared that he would lead a march to break the salt law. Now, question number 9 is, discuss those developments of the 1937 to 47 period that led to the creation of Pakistan. So, your answer is, the developments of 1937 to 47 which led to the creation of Pakistan are given below. A point is a two-nation theory. Initially, the Muslim League never mentioned Pakistan to be the nation of Muslims. However, since the 1930s, it started demanding a separate country for Muslims. Next is provincial elections of 1937. The elections were a decisive factor for Muslim League to decide that Muslims are a minority in India and they have to have a separate nation for them, for their just representation in the politics. Next is tiff between Congress and Muslim League. When Congress rejected the Muslim League's offer for a joint Congress League government in United Provinces, the League decided to part ways forever. And next is failed talks. No discussion could turn out to be successful where both Congress and Muslim League could come to a conclusion of a single nation. British too at the end of Second World War opened negotiation talks with both Congress and the League. However, it turned failure. Next we can say provincial elections of 1946, Muslim League's spectacular victory on the seats reserved for Muslims gave them the confidence to create a separate nation. Then mass agitation, the failure of cabinet mission of 1946 led to the mass agitation led by the Muslim League. Then we can say partition was finalized and Pakistan was born. Now, your home assignment is you have to find out more about the life and work of any two participants of leaders of the national movement and write a short essay about them. You may choose a person who not mentioned in this chapter also. This is your choice. So, try to do this. Thank you. Have a nice day.